Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do 25 things I've learned in 25 years. It was my 25th birthday on March 3rd. I was pretty sad about it. But my girlfriend, who doesn't know that she's my girlfriend, Whitney Simmons, here on YouTube, did this video and I really liked the idea of it, so I'm doing it as well. This is going to be so rambly. This is like I love to delve deep. The first thing I've learned is not to jump to conclusions. And this can be good or bad. Sometimes you can jump to good conclusions and you think something great's gonna happen. Don't get too excited about it until it's actually happening. I know this is so difficult. Same thing with bad things. Don't jump to any conclusions. It's so easy when you're going through life to hear about things that are happening, things that someone said, and people really quickly jump to conclusion without verifying what's actually going on. And they get all upset and all worked up about absolutely nothing. So don't jump to conclusions. Just wait for everything to unfold the way that it's meant to unfold and then act. My second thing is to do what feels right. I think this is something that a lot of people feel like they should be doing what society tells us to do, what your parents tell you to do, what your friends tell you to do. And this can go into so many different categories in life. It can go into your job or your school or your relationships, whatever it may be. I think the biggest thing is to do what you personally feel is right instead of what other people are telling you you should do or what they think is right. There's going to be endless decisions you will have to make throughout your life, and if you get good at doing what feels right now, you will never have to justify your decisions because it will always be what you personally felt was right as opposed to what this person thought or whatever it may be. The next thing is don't agree to things you don't want to do. I am the absolute worst for this. I constantly agree to work I don't want to do, plans I don't want to go through with because it's just like obligation, or I just don't want to have the conversation about why I don't want to do those things. Like I constantly put myself in these positions where I'm having to do things I don't want to do. And I am 100% not one of those people where I will be like, no, I'm just gonna push myself to do it. It might be fun. Like if I know I don't want to do it at the time that I'm agreeing to it, I know it's not going to be a good time, basically. Fourth thing I've learned is to do your research. I just think it's important to do your due diligence, whatever it is, whether you're looking at a new job and you're trying to determine whether or not it's a good fit for you, whether you're looking at apartments that you want to move into, do your research, really look into things. Don't just assume that everything will be fine. It takes seconds and minutes to just actually cover your bases and make sure that you've researched whatever it is that you're getting yourself into. My fifth thing is to develop healthy habits right now. Do it now. Don't wait until there's a problem that you have to act on. Start doing things preemptively just because you want to take care of your body, your mind, your heart, your feelings. Healthy habits are always a good idea, whether that's eating properly, exercising a little bit, going on more walks like yoga, whatever it is, whatever your healthy habit is, skincare, just saying. Just do something every single day, no matter how big or small that is helping take care of yourself in the short term and the long term. My next one is don't tell yourself that you can't do something. So many people put themselves in this box where they determine like, this is what I can do, this is what I can't do, to the point where they won't even allow themselves to try doing the things that they believe that they can't do because they've already kind of set themselves up for disaster. Don't ever do that to yourself. Always try, always believe that you can do anything that you want to do. Our generation is so lucky because knowledge is so unbelievably accessible for us. You can learn how to do so many different things on your own. And the next one, which kind of ties into the last one, is don't worry if you don't have everything figured out right now. If you don't know what you want, if you don't know what you want to do as a career, you don't know where you're headed in your life, don't worry. So many people are right there with you. Don't treat this as a closed door, treat it as an open one. This is your time right now when you have nothing to do and you don't know what you want and you don't know what direction to head in. This is such an amazing opportunity for you to spend all your free time filling it with different things just to try them. In a lot of cities, there are a lot of like free things that you can do. I know that some of the places downtown have like free yoga classes, free meditation, free rock climbing, like so many different kind of like community activities, painting classes, just like random shit like that. And you can utilize that. If you have an extra couple bucks kicking around, you can do some activities with your friends, you can do some activities alone, whatever it is, like just go experience as much as you possibly can, travel if you have the option to travel, do as much as you can every single day, and just allow yourself to experience so many different things because you never know when you will stumble on what you do want to do for the rest of your life. So you have the option to sit around and be upset because you don't know what you're doing, or experience as much as you possibly can during this time where you're not tied down to your end goal. This is something that Whitney mentioned in her video, and that is having a few really good friends as opposed to a lot of mediocre or shitty friends. And that is something that I definitely believe in. The older I get, the less I feel the need to have a ton of people around me. I just want really quality people in my life. And to expand on that, friends come and go. This is a really hard reality in life. We want to believe that our best friends that we connect so well with are going to continue to be our best friends, and you guys will get married together and have kids together, not together, but well, maybe, I don't know. But you want to believe that this person's going to be there your whole life because you've invested in them and you spent time with them and you've talked to them about so much and you guys have poured your heart out to each other and blah, blah, blah. Don't worry, friends come and go. It's fine. You're not going to be alone forever. If you lost a friend or you're going through something like that right now, don't worry about it. It's meant to be. The next thing, this also ties into the last thing, family comes first. If you are someone who is fortunate enough to have a good family around you or a family at all, consider yourself so incredibly lucky and make sure that you cherish every moment with your family. And if you're not in a good place with your family right now, but you think it's worth working on, definitely do. Family is just unbelievably important. My next one is to not be afraid of confrontation the right way. A lot of people are really afraid of getting into arguments, and it manifests in the strangest behavior sometimes. Say what you mean. Don't try and set people up for failure by trying to play games with them and just seeing how they'll react if you do something this way. Just don't be afraid of the confrontation. If you have an issue, bring it up to them, whether it's your employer, whether it's a friend, boyfriend. Don't be afraid of that actual confrontation and saying what you mean instead of trying to get the reaction that you're wanting through a different means. Just say it, just get it out there. And that kind of segues into my next point, which is the fact that communication is so important. And by communication, I don't just mean talking, I mean listening and understanding. Point number, I don't know what point number this is, but relationships. One big thing that I've learned is that relationships are not my way or the highway. They're always give and take. My mom constantly says to me all the time, relationships are hard at the best of times, and it's so true. I see a lot of this on Twitter where people feel like someone does one thing wrong and they want to break up over it, which in certain situations, yes, do. Or that they want their partner to just do whatever they want and not question them and whatever, which is the worst. That's horrible and manipulative, and you're not going to be happy and your partner's not going to be happy. The relationship should never be just about you. It's equally important to value your partner because you're choosing to spend your time together and you're choosing to kind of intertwine your lives. So you really have to, in that, if you love this person, if you care about this person, you should be caring about their well-being. You should be caring about being fair to them. And that's a really hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, and it was really hard for me as well. I remember when I was 16, I was in my first relationship, and I had a really volatile relationship with that boyfriend because I just felt like I was 16. I felt like he should put me on a pedestal. I felt like he should do whatever I ask. He should stop doing whatever I want. And that was just what I genuinely believed. And so I remember at some point my dad saying to me, like, that's not fair. You can't just ask the world of him and expect him to deliver because you're not being fair. Like, he's going to do some things he wants to do and you're going to do things you want to do. And I at the time, like, I could not believe my dad would say that to me. I was like, how are you taking his side right now? But it's true. Another thing that my mom always told me, and this is a big thing to constantly remind yourself of, is that it always gets better. My next life lesson is to not allow entitlement to lead to disappointment. This one is a really tough one as well. A lot of people don't like to recognize their own flaws. Even if we may be aware of them, we really just don't want to kind of call ourselves out and see these things in ourselves because it's embarrassing and shitty. But I see a lot of people, and I do the same thing as well, just being entitled and feeling like the world isn't giving you what you deserve. And just a lot of people saying, why not me? Why don't I have that? Why don't I have this? Why not? Why not? Why not? And it's hard. Sometimes you feel like you've been working at things for a really long time, or you feel like, you've paid your dues or whatever that may be, and you believe that you should be somewhere other than where you are. But if you believe that you deserve something that you currently don't have, there's a reason why you don't have that thing, and whether it's fair or not, don't allow yourself to be constantly disappointed because you feel like you're entitled to whatever it may be. My next lesson is resourcefulness over resources. If you've watched me on Periscope, you've probably heard me mention this a billion times. And this just really comes down to the fact, I said this recently in a video, no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're pursuing, no matter what point you're at in your life, you will eternally have a lack of resources. You'll always need something better. You need nicer furniture. You need more money. You need better camera equipment. You need better makeup. You need better this, better that, whatever it is. There's always something more out there. You're always going to need something or want something, but you're not always going to have it. So to learn the skill of resourcefulness is just going to help you so much in so many aspects of your life. It's also going to help you to become a lot more independent. You're going to rely on people less because you know that you have that ability in yourself to do what you need to do with what you have. My next point is that you never know what happens behind closed doors, and for that reason and that reason alone, you should try to limit your judgment of people. Judgment is natural. We all do it to some extent. It's really easy to look at a person, to hear about something, and just determine whatever you want to determine about that person or that situation. This goes into as well when you're offering relationship advice and stuff like that to your friends. You don't know what this relationship looks like behind closed doors. You don't know what that person is telling you or not telling you, and you never know what's going on in somebody's life. You don't know why they're acting the way that they're acting, and I'm very much somebody who is a big believer in trying to determine why people say the things they do, why I say the things I do, why I do things a certain way. Like, I really try to break down people's actions, people's words, and try and determine where they're coming from. Things like how people were raised, things like insecurities, things like current issues that person is dealing with. All of these things tie into how they behave and how they act about things right now. You will never know every person's story or every aspect of one person's story, so I really think it's important to limit your judgment and recognize that you don't know what happens behind closed doors. My next thing is that pets are truly so magical. This is the only one that's not a really soul-searching lesson, but my dogs have truly changed my life so much. I am so much happier for them. My mood is constantly more elevated because of it. I'm more stable mentally because of my dogs. Like, I honestly, they like everything that I deal with now, I'm able to cope with in such a different way because of my dogs. They're such great companions, and I'm so lucky to have them, and I couldn't not put them in there because they've changed my life so much. My next one is to know your skills and also know your limitations and let others shine where you might fall short. The worst thing you can do is limit your experiences in life, limit your efficiency in life because you are hell-bent on proving a point that you are good at everything or that you can do it yourself or whatever it may be. Lift those up around you. Recognize that you have your own skills. You're amazing in your own way. People around you are amazing in their own way. You can learn from them. You can benefit from them. They can benefit from you. It's going to be a relationship that's going to help you mutually grow, and it's just such a better way to live, recognizing that other people have different skill sets than you, and that's okay. My next one is to never know what you will say that will impact someone forever, be that good or bad. This sounds heavier than it is, but it's one of those things where I've had so many conversations with my friends over the years. Obviously, we're just like talking about whatever, something that's going on in our lives, or I'm just talking about my life or whatever it may be, just conversations that will take place over your life. And it's so funny to me to hear years later something that I said a really long time ago that stuck with them, and vice versa, things that my friends have said to me that I constantly hold on to, I constantly remind myself of. And the biggest thing that plays into this is just to speak purposefully. Try to avoid saying things out of anger, try to avoid saying things out of sadness. It's important to have those conversations and that kind of confrontation if you need to have confrontation, but to not let your emotions get the best of you, because you don't know what you will say to somebody that will really affect them in a way that's super lasting, that you might not even remember saying to them. And also this goes into the good conversations as well. You never know what you're going to say that's going to help somebody so much. So just don't be afraid to connect with people, and when you do, just always try to speak as purposefully as you can. My next one, this is another hard life lesson, and that is to not put expectations that you hold for yourself onto others. If you do this, you will be disappointed over and over and over again. This really plays into relationships and friendships especially. A lot of people feel super dismayed if their friend doesn't behave the way that they would behave in a certain situation, if their partner doesn't do something the way that they would do something, or if they don't handle an argument the way that you would. This is really hard because you really have to be willing to take a step back and see where they're coming from, and recognize why they're doing the things that they're doing. And also know that just because you hold a certain expectation of yourself, or because you you would behave a certain way, know that that's not the only right way, and that people do things for a reason. We have a real tendency to judge ourselves by our intentions and others by their actions, but that's where a lot of misunderstanding takes place, and a lot of unnecessary anger and frustration, because, you know, if anyone was ever to come to you with something, you would be able to explain yourself and say, well, this is why I did this, and, you know, it wasn't malicious, like this is what I was going through, this is what I was thinking, I thought that I was dealing with it in the right way, blah, blah, blah. You would know what your intentions were behind what you did or what you said. But we're so quick to point to other people and be like, well, this is what you did, and I don't care, and blah, 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 this is how it made me feel, and like, you know, and we get so wrapped up in this idea that because you didn't behave the way I would have behaved, you're wrong, and I'm right, and you should have known better. And when it comes to things like friendships and stuff like that, I liken this to why you follow certain influencers. There's gonna be certain influencers that you follow because you think they're pretty. They look how you want to look. They do their makeup in a really pretty way. There's going to be another influencer that you follow because her style is like unreal. She dresses exactly how you'd love to dress if you had like unlimited funds. There's going to be another person you follow because they make cool cooking videos that are easy and you can do them. There's another person you're following for fitness motivation. And it's the same thing with friends. You probably have a friend that you call when you need to like really cry and talk about your problems. You probably have another friend that you like going shopping with, and another friend that you know, like, yeah, you guys are like friends, but you're not super close. And when you hold all of these friends to the exact same expectations, you're going to be disappointed. It's okay that these people fill different areas of your life. You just have to be better at recognizing who you can trust with what, who you need to hold to higher expectations than others, and just really manage your expectations. My next point is to help people because you want to, and because it's the help that you would have wanted when you were in that scenario, not because you expect something out of them, or not because you think that they now owe you anything at all. I have helped countless people over the years. People that were close to me, people that I didn't know at all, people that were acquaintances, friends, family, whatever it is. I've helped so many people with so many different things, and I have had that slap me in the face hundreds of times. And it's a super hard thing, because you feel like if you're a good person and you're helping people and you're doing what you think is right, that you will be rewarded for that, or that basically that those people won't fuck you over, or that something bad won't happen to you because of having helped them. But that's just not life, and you can't look back and regret having helped people and regret that you did something for them and that they have now wronged you. It's going to happen all the time. That doesn't mean that you should stop helping people. That doesn't mean that you should stop doing what's right. That doesn't mean, like, if that's in your nature, if you are like a helper, don't feel shitty about it. Don't let people get you down. You're going to be disappointed by people, but help because you want to help, and don't worry about what happens afterwards. My next life lesson that I've learned is about arguments. Before getting into an argument, ask yourself why you're upset, where it actually stems from, because sometimes we think we're upset for one reason, but it actually has to do with an insecurity or something that happened 5 years ago or whatever it may be, and what the solution is, if any. If you don't see any solution, there's no point in getting into the argument. 99% of the time, you're not going to receive what you want out of that argument to make you feel better, so there's no point in getting into it unless you see a solution, and come prepared with that solution. And while you're arguing, try and take a step back every few minutes and say, okay, am I on the path to this solution, or are we just arguing about useless shit? I like to have control over certain aspects, most aspects of my life, most everything, And it was really hard for me when I was younger. I would constantly get into arguments, especially with boyfriends. I was constantly getting into arguments just because I felt like, ooh, I just needed to get my point across. And the part that I said about trying to figure out where these situations are stemming from, that helps you to kind of take a step back and not jump in head first with just all of your emotions. You can kind of take a step to really cool down, look at the situation. Is this actually something I'm upset about? Why? Where does it come from? And this being introspective in that way will really help you down the road, because you know what kind of things are actually boundaries that you need to set for yourself, for others, within your relationships, within your work, and why. It's important to know why these things bother you, because a lot of the times it's something that you need to work on with yourself. For instance, me with Matt, me with any boyfriend, I get into a lot of arguments that stem from my insecurities. arguments. There's still arguments I'm more than willing to have, but I also can, after the argument, look at myself and say, okay, you know what, like, I know that I need to deal with these insecurities. I know that I need to help myself. I know that I need to figure out how to get on a path where I'm less insecure so these things aren't inhibiting our relationship or, our level of communication. Tying back into that last point, man, just fucking let the small things go. Back to my first relationship, I used to get upset about everything. Like you don't understand. Like you're thinking I'm exaggerating. I'm truly not. Like everything. If I felt a tickle of aggression, I was like, I'm going for it. I'm going for it. Swan diving into the argument. I'm ready. There would be times where I would literally be thinking to myself, I'm not actually mad about this. Like, because when I'm mad. Like, I feel it in my stomach. I know I'm like sick. Like, I'm mad. You know what I mean? And like, there would be times where I'd be like, I'm not mad about this, but I was arguing anyways, and I was getting mad anyways, and I was working myself up. And by the end, I would actually be mad about whatever it was, but I knew in the beginning, before I jumped headfirst in that argument, that I wasn't actually that upset about it. And the issue with not letting anything go and arguing everything, it's a control thing. You feel like you need to get a handle on it before it gets to a point where you are upset about it. Like, it's such a bad way to live. It makes you lose sight of what actually bothers you, what's actually important, what's actually worth arguing about. Don't do that. Don't do what I did. My next one is to never self-destruct or engage in destructive behavior. I think it's really important to constantly ask yourself whether or not your current actions are actually making you happy, or if you're doing them out of spite or resentment or obligation. And what I mean by this, for instance, let's say that you are arguing with your partner and you are purposely ignoring them because you want them to come around, you want them to give you the attention that you're looking for, you want them to give you the reaction that you're looking for. But meanwhile, you're fucking angry about it and you're checking your phone constantly to see if they've texted you what you're looking for, and you're not able to enjoy your time with your friends as much, and you're just being constantly pissy about it. What you're doing, you think you're going to get what you want out of that situation, but you know in your heart that you're not. And so you're purposely putting yourself into a shitty situation. You're prolonging an argument. You're prolonging being unhappy, hoping that it gets you to the point that you want to be at. And this is just such a misguided attempt at happiness. And we tell ourselves, we really believe that we're doing these things because we respect ourselves and we blah, blah, blah. If you respect yourself, don't engage in that destructive behavior. Look at what's going on in your life. Look at why you're unhappy. Ask if those things are self-induced, and then solve them if they are. My last one is to let your walls down. Hurt and pain and heartbreak and disappointment, these are inevitable feelings. You can try and avoid them all you want. They're going to happen no matter what you do. You could be the best person in the world. You could treat your friends and your family with like the utmost respect. You could be, just like a stand-up team player at your job. Like, you could honestly be such a wonderful, amazing, incredible person. It doesn't matter. You will have people that are shitty in your lives. You will have situations that are out of your control that happen. Please do not ever live your life in fear of these feelings, because these feelings are going to happen anyways. And the worst thing that I can see in other people and in myself is that you're choosing not to do things. You're choosing to limit your experiences in life because you don't want to go through certain things. So if that means not putting your all into a relationship because you're scared of it ending, if that means being afraid to get into more meaningful friendships, there's so many different things that people limit themselves from because they don't want to be let down. All you're doing is making your life a less fulfilled experience. Try to enjoy every day. Don't be afraid to wear your heart on your sleeve. I'm the fucking queen of it. It bites me in the ass all the time. Trust me. I've been let down by so many people. I've been let down by so many situations. I've been so hurt. I've been so disappointed. I've been heartbroken. Like, I've gone through it all time and time again, and I just continue to refuse to learn from it. But I think that's important. I think it's important to be willing to have those shitty experiences and know that they were coupled with great ones. I think it's important to be fully yourself. I think it's important to let people experience you for all that you are and get to see every single side of you, because every single one of you, you guys are great, you're talented, you're beautiful, you have so much purpose, you have so much meaning, there's so much out there for you. There's so many people that are going to benefit from knowing you. There's going to be so many people that are going to be so happy and feel so privileged to know you. That experience is only better by you allowing yourself to let it be and not be afraid of the downfall of whatever you're getting yourself into. So, that was a pill to swallow. These are just things that I've learned over the past couple of years. They're things that I try to remind myself of. They're things that I talk to my friends about all the time. I hope you guys can identify with parts of those. I hope you guys can take some of those lessons that I've learned and apply them to your own life. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you'd like to see next in the comments below, and I'll get back to you. Share your life lessons down below. I want to read them. I want to know what you guys have experienced. I want to know what's important to you as a person, to your being. Tell me about your childhood trauma. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.